Hello, Soundies. Welcome to Impromptu Livestream here. We're going to do a little review for a product that I agreed to review probably 4 or 5 months ago. I don't even remember how long ago it was. But before we get started, let's go ahead and just make sure if you could give me a thumbs up in the chat that audio is coming through okay and hopefully video is coming through okay as well. All right, let me just go ahead and tell you a little bit about what we're looking at here tonight. I will cut to the overhead cam here. All right, so this is the ANDYCINE AC-M1. It's a camera top shotgun microphone. I have it on a little miniature tripod at the moment, and I'll explain why in just a minute. But this is probably very similar, for example, to the Rode Video Micro and lots of other knockoffs that we've seen since then. So that's what we're looking at. And let me give you the context for this. First of all, a guy named Andy, who's probably the president of ANDYCINE, contacted me some time ago. They make a variety of kind of budget video production gear. So they have monitors, I think is probably one of the bigger things. They do make a little cold shoe mount or shoe mount for monitors that I really actually like and use on my Pocket 6K rig. And it's just it's a bit more sturdy than a lot of the others. And he said, "Hey, can you review this microphone?" And I don't usually review. When my channel first started, I did review things like $20 lavalier microphones and things like that. And generally, I haven't lately because I don't end up using those a whole lot, and so I don't feel like I'm necessarily really well. I don't know. I just not well positioned to review them. And honestly, a lot of them end up kind of being about the same. So there are probably some good ones out there. But the other thing I kind of worry about with the really inexpensive gear is that there's potentially, I feel like, more chance for variation from copy to copy. So if I review a particular unit, it could be a really horrible copy or maybe a really good copy, and maybe it wouldn't necessarily translate. I don't know. Anyway, so I had some hesitations, but then I thought to myself, there is actually one use case that this would be potentially helpful for me, and that is with my corporate videos today. We're still not in the office for my day job, and so we have employees distributed in multiple cities in the United States, 2 cities in the United States, plus over in the Philippines, and we have an office in Europe. We have an office in Sydney, Australia. So we're kind of spread out. And so one of the things that we're doing is that we're doing these kind of interview series where the host is in Salt Lake in Utah here, and then the guest or the interviewee is going to be who knows where, either in Minneapolis, Minnesota, maybe working from home in Salt Lake, or maybe working from one of our other offices. And so my thinking was, well, maybe we could use a little microphone like this. I could ship this around along with a small kit with maybe a small mirrorless camera. We could connect this directly into the camera, and that would solve a lot of problems. Like, I get a better quality overall video stream from them. And I'm using a platform called riverside.fm to record the sessions, which is actually a pretty interesting service, and I'll have a review of that coming up on Sunday on my main channel. So in any case, that was my thinking on this. Maybe we could do something like that. And what I could do is actually set it up using a small tripod like this. And so I could put it on a desk right in front of them, just have it kind of aiming up at them a little bit more, and get it pretty close to them. So I wouldn't have it sitting on top of the camera, but I'd actually have it sitting up pretty close to them. And part of the motivation for this is our marketing director. We've done a few of them, and I did have some other USB microphones that I sent out to the first group. And I actually said, put them in the frame like this. Let's get them nice and close so that we can get better audio. And in particular, one of the guest had a room that was the most reverberant room I have ever heard, I think. And so I wanted him to bring the mic up close. He didn't want his microphone to be showing, so he put it down out of the frame, like, just so that it was below, something like that. In any case, the audio was pretty bad, and we still also have to have the guest and the host be able to hear each other. And so the the guest was wearing earbuds, and the marketing director didn't like that either. But I think we found a solution for that. And so the solution for that is just going to be that we're going to have a pause. When the interviewer asks a question, we're going to enforce a like a 5-second pause, so there's no audio coming out of the interviewee's speakers while they're listening back, and then they can start talking and answering the question. So anyway, that's why I wanted to review this microphone. So let me tell you just a little bit about it, and we'll just jump in over here. All right, so it has a 3.5 millimeter TRS output, just a little jack on the back here. It comes with the cable to connect it to your camera, a TRS cable. It also comes with a TRS to TRS cable, so you could run it into a phone if you wanted to do that as well. And I don't have it right here with me, but it does also have a wind cover that is available as well. So there's no gain setting on this. There are no settings whatsoever. And it comes with this this shoe mount that has a locking nut. And actually, this feels like it's metal, the locking nut, which is good. The cable does not lock. It just pushes in and is held in by friction, as you probably would expect. I should also give you some context. This is a $30 microphone. So, you kind of expect some of these things. It does have this lyre-style mount like you see from Rycote, except it's not anything like a Rycote, really, from a couple of different standpoints. Number one, the Rycote typically has sort of a rubber fitting in here that kind of grabs onto the microphone and keeps it firmly attached. This does not have that. Oh, that actually fits better there. I don't think it's supposed to go there, though. Well, maybe that could. Interestingly, when it came in the package, it was not connected there. That actually fits better here. It kind of wobbles around within the mount. You can see that. That's going to cause problems. So it actually fits better here. Like that actually has a firm grip on it. Maybe that's the answer. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. But the plastic here is definitely not the kind of high-grade engineered thermoplastic that they use on the Rycote. It's shaped a little bit differently. I don't know how much of a difference that shape's going to make, but definitely the quality of the plastic is different. So I don't know how well that's actually going to prevent rumbling from being picked up by the capsule if things move around. So if it were mounted on top of a camera, I'd be more concerned about it. On a desk, hopefully not a major concern. Yeah, I don't think it was meant to be gripping right there because this does not fit all the way on when I do that. It is definitely supposed to go here, which is a problem because you can see it will actually go on further now because that's really loose in there. Anyway, okay. So there's kind of the physical layout of that microphone and what we're looking at here. So now I'm going to go ahead and put it up on my desk here. I'm going to aim it up at my mouth, and we'll go ahead and give you a sample here. Now, signal chain. Let me talk a little bit about the signal chain for tonight. So the ANDYCINE AC-M1 is routed directly into the ATEM Mini Extreme ISO into one of its microphone inputs. It's set to, in fact, I can show you here. Let's just go ahead and do this. I think that's input 5. Yes. Okay. So if we come in here, it is connected to the mic 2 input. And what I've done is I split up the mic 2 input. Turns out it actually wouldn't need to be split, but I was getting something weird before. So, and actually it just, and maybe it happened again, I'm not sure. But we also have it set to microphone plus plug-in power, which is the normal setting, as they say. So again, the microphone does not have its own power. It is being supplied power by the ATEM Mini, or it would be by your camera if you were going to use it on top of a camera. So with that, let's go ahead and switch over to the ANDYCINE. You have not been hearing the ANDYCINE up until this point, and give me just a second here and we'll get that switched over. Okay, we are now on the ANDYCINE, and let me go ahead and switch back over to my main camera here. There we are. The ANDYCINE is just down here, just out of frame, and this is what you're hearing here. So a couple of things. Number one, I do have a high-pass filter on, and I need to turn that off. Let's go ahead and turn that off. There we go. Okay, no more high-pass filter. We're using the processing within the ATEM Mini, and I'll show you that in just a minute here. But the biggest thing I noticed was the self-noise. I don't know if you're hearing that on your end, but there was quite a bit of self-noise. And let me switch back over to my main mic here. Okay, now here we are back on this mic. Wow, was that audio even coming through? No, okay, yeah, it was coming through. Okay, so Ono Coffee says ANDYCINE didn't sound bad. I agree. I felt like the timbre of the mic was actually not too bad. It was that self-noise that was a little bit much. So, you know, again, keep in mind we're looking at a $30 microphone versus a $700 microphone going into a $3,500 preamp channel, and then so on and so forth. But anyway, but yeah, that noise floor is a little bit problematic from my point of view. However, let's show you something here. We could use the expander gate within the ATEM Mini in this case. So let me show you what that's like. Switch them back over. Let's cut. There we go. Okay. So I could come in to here. Let me switch over to the microphone again. So this is the ANDYCINE. There's the ANDYCINE that we're listening to now. So again, you can hear that noise floor. I could use this expander, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that on. So as I talk, that opens the expander, but when I stop, we've set the range to 13. And in essence, it's doing 13 dB of attenuation when I'm not talking. That seems to solve that problem pretty nicely. So there is an option there, I guess. If I was in a very, very specific use case, the ANDYCINE into an ATEM Mini Pro, or any of the ATEMs actually, ATEM Minis, I should say, I could use this expander, and that could make a big difference here. So what I did is I just set the threshold to -36, range to 13. We're just doing a 2-to-1 ratio, or a 1-to-2 ratio in this case. Fast attack and 520 millisecond release, so a fairly slow release to kind of ease back in and pull that noise floor down a little bit. So there's one thing you could do on that. So there is a sample of the ANDYCINE using the expander on the ATEM Mini, just so you could hear what that sounds like. So let me know what you guys think in the chat. And I guess let me know if there are any other questions I could answer for you. I would say that that's probably not going to work for my use case, which I was hoping to connect it directly to a camera and be able to ship that around the world. I'll probably need to look at other microphones that I can include in that kit. So the idea is I want to be able to ship. Also, the webcams are horrible that we've been using on their laptops. And so I want to be able to send my little kit with a small camera, maybe something like maybe a Panasonic G7 or something like that, and then a microphone that we can put on a little desk tripod, a little desk stand, and be able to run that microphone directly into the camera. And the reason I want to run it directly into the camera is that, A, it's a simpler setup. I don't want to have to send them any sort of, certainly not an ATEM Mini. That's just more than they can handle. I'll just send a basic, you know, like a cam link or something like that with them, so they can plug that into their computer. And hopefully that's all they'll need to do is basically, I can walk them through, I can write up an instruction sheet on how to set all that up, and then kind of fine tune it on a call with them. I could actually go into riverside.fm and just kind of walk them through setting it up. So that's what I'm looking for. Unfortunately, I don't think the ANDYCINE is going to fill that purpose, sadly, but let's go ahead and switch back to the other microphone just again so you can hear some contrast. That's always, I think, really important if you want to really hear a difference here. So back off of the ANDYCINE, and now back onto the Earthworks. Big, huge difference. So, all right. So any questions? If you have any questions, go ahead and drop those into the chat here. Would love to talk about them with you. And let's see what we got going out in the chat there. You guys got anything fun going on? Let's see. Okay, yes, this is on. All right. Ono Coffee said earlier, the ANDYCINE doesn't sound bad. I concur. It's actually not too bad. But Gen also mentioned that noise floor is not great, and I agree. Definitely hear the noise floor from Alex. Agreed. All right. Now it looks like we're Ono Coffee, $700 of smooth butter. Yeah, that is a pretty nice microphone. I do like that. It's a little bright and crisp, which can be a little rough on my voice, but I do on the channel strip here. I have an EQ. We are pulling down the little bit in the sibilance range, just a touch, just to kind of keep things from getting too grating out there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pop this back over here. Oh, one thing I didn't do. We have to go back. I'm going to turn it back over to the ANDYCINE again and put my headphones on. Okay, back on the ANDYCINE here. Let's test how this shock mount works. Now, if I pick this up, ooh, hear that? It's transferring plenty of movement. Oh, I'm sorry. Putting it back down on the desk. Ooh, so definitely need a high pass filter for that, but that's a lot of energy down there. Let's see what happens when we pop on, and we'll cut back over to the ATEM. Here we go. Let's have a look at the audio. Let's pop a high pass filter on there. Bump that up. There's at about 80 hertz. You don't get to choose the slope on this one, I don't think. No, doesn't look like it. So anyway, let's do a pickup again. Just see what happens now. A little bit less. Shaking the mic here, just to see how well the shock mount works. Still picking up quite a bit of stuff there. So as I guessed, that shock mount is not amazing. Oof, plenty of noise there. So anyway, so there's that test. That's another test I wanted to do. So here's tapping on the desk. That's not so good. Again, kind of a feature of the not great quality shock mount. So there we go. All right, we're going to switch back over here to the Earthworks again. You know what? Actually, before I do that, okay, not bad. All right, yeah, go ahead and switch back. Okay, back on the Earthworks here. All right. Uphill Cinema, who's my friend Levi, may I borrow your YouTube award button and turn it into a pendant necklace? Yes, Levi, you can. If the company is sending SR314s to employees, then I am a new employee. Well, welcome to the company again. Be great to have you there. That is some gain there. Peter asks, so will you be sending SR314 around to your colleagues? The answer is no, definitely not. We're talking about people who know nothing about audio production, so they're not going to know. You'd have to send other stuff with it too, and they're not going to know how to set that up. So definitely not. Ono Coffee says, I had an issue tonight with a Rodecaster Pro for my live stream, and StreamYard guessed via StreamYard had double sound, and I was unable to eliminate it. Any ideas? Tell me how you had that set up. So were you connected via USB and had them coming in? Yeah, I guess we need to know a little bit more about how you had things set up there. And they had double sound, so they weren't getting a mix minus, which is interesting because StreamYard usually takes care of that for you. So I'm really not sure why it was doing that. Was everybody wearing headphones? Another question there. So let me know what you see there. Did you see the article that covers why We don't have good external webcams. It was pretty interesting. I have not. If you wouldn't mind, I don't think you'll be able to put it in the chat because they don't allow links in the chat, but if you wouldn't mind dropping that in the comments right after the live stream, that would be, I'd love to hear about that. And that way I can at least approve the comment and it'll come out. Yeah, Lloyd. Oh my goodness, the self-noise and handling noise, that was rough. That's what you expect when you're working with a $30 microphone, I suppose. So that one unfortunately won't work for that scenario, but if someone were on a very tight budget and microphone and use the noise gate, you could probably get acceptable sound. However, I would question your priorities if you were buying an ATEM and leaving only $30 for your microphone budget. I think you might want to switch that up a little bit. Maybe don't buy the ATEM Extreme and go with maybe a Deity D3 Pro or something like that. So some thoughts there. All right. So I needed to fulfill that obligation. I feel badly because Andy sent this over to me. It's been sitting out in the queue for probably 4 or 5 months. What I can say is this. I think that for someone on a very tight budget, if you do have an ATEM Mini and you want to use it for live streaming, I think you could make it work. You're going to need to use that expander to kind of manage the noise floor in between talking. So it could be a little bit tricky to do that. However, if that's how tight your budget is and this is all you can afford, I would say, in that particular circumstance, yes. If you're going to use it on top of your camera for vlogging, I don't think I would recommend it. It's just that shock mount just is not great. And you heard earlier all of the vibration that transfers to the capsule and creates that low frequency rumble. It's just overwhelming. So probably not great for that. Sorry. I guess the only exception is if you're going to put it on a tripod and just leave it there, not handle it and carry it. But if you're carrying it, I think all bets are off for this one. So those are my thoughts on there. Not meaning to roast ANDYCINE, sorry about that, but I do think it's fair. You have to be honest about these things, and I feel like that one's got some issues there. So anyway, all right. Marvin asks, how are we able to contact you? You can contact me at curtis@learnlightandsound.com. All right, here we go from Ono Coffee. A little more detail on the question from earlier. Rodecaster Pro via USB to M1 Mac to StreamYard. Yes to headphones. Had the audio from the Mac coming into the Rodecaster Pro via the fader. Soloed that to try to isolate, but the viewer said there was still the echo double sound. So did you have them also connected via... So you had them connected via StreamYard, so you're getting audio from the computer. You didn't also have them on a mobile connected via a mobile device as well, I'm assuming, because that would result in the kind of double sound. Shoot, I don't really know. I don't know why you would be getting the sound from them. Now, did you have a channel on your Rodecaster Pro for them? I don't know. It just feels like there's something more complex going on here that I don't entirely understand. I apologize for that, Alma Coffee. If you want to contact me directly and kind of show pictures and maybe a little diagram of how you have everything set up, it'd be a really fascinating thing to kind of work through and figure out how things go. Also mention, oh hey, debt-free homesteaders. Hey, hi Will. Thanks for joining us tonight. ANDYCINE, I wonder if there is a different isolation mount that could be used to mitigate the rumble. Yeah, definitely. You could get a Rycote mount. They're a lot more expensive than the microphone, but you could do that. And if you happen to have one sitting around, I guess you could use that as well. Let me try something else here. Let me just go back over to this and let's take a look at this again. The mic is off. Yeah, the mic is off. So what we did earlier is we actually took this off and mounted it here where it was a much firmer grip. Let's see what happens with that, just out of curiosity. Okay, we're going to cut back over here. There we are. We will put the headphones back on, and we're going to switch the ANDYCINE back on. Okay, we are now on the ANDYCINE. See, move that mic out of the way. Let's pick this up. Oh. Hey, that's a lot better, huh? I don't know, are you guys... Oh, wait. Stand by. It turned on both channels. So, again, we're splitting this into left and right, and we're just taking the left here. All right, so I'm not hearing all the bass rumble that I was hearing before. It's a little hot, but let's put that down. This is probably the typical position where I would use it, about right there. It's within about, say, 10 inches or so. For people that do centimeters, how far is that? People that do centimeters are mostly in bed right now, asleep. I would say that's probably 20, close to 20 centimeters is my guess. Maybe a little bit more. So that seems to do better. It's not rumbling around as much. So it's really kind of that grip. And maybe if you put in some sort of little rubberized something or other inside and put it on its appropriate mount place, that would potentially solve that problem. So if you're a DIYer, maybe there's an answer for you. Okay. Lloyd asked if we still have the high pass on. We do. Let me go ahead and turn that off and see what happens here. Okay, high pass is now turned off. Ah, we are getting some of that handling noise again. Ooh, yeah, it's there. Turn it back on. High pass is back on. It's going to handle some of it, not all of it, but setting it down, tapping the table. Still transferring plenty of that energy. But yeah, that's a little bit better there. And Ono Coffee, same thing. When the high pass filter is on and with this in the different mount spot, it does a little bit better with the rumbling. Good. Okay, Timothy says, I remember a short while back you gave away a Deity VMic D4 Duo, and I don't remember seeing a review from you about it. I asked thinking it might be a better choice this case. Yes, I did not do a review. In fact, I talked with Andrew over at Deity, so they sent it to me months ago. And the first round of reviews, a lot of people were saying, hey, this doesn't work well outdoors with the fur wind cover. And I guess there was a little bit of an issue with there's a bit of a gap. It's kind of unusual because this is a two-sided microphone. It's actually sensitive on the front and the back intentionally so that you can interview people, like just really literally walk up with a camera and you can interview. You can be behind the camera operating, interviewing a person in front of the camera. So it took two separate covers, wind covers, and there was a bit of a gap, and so a lot of wind was still getting in and kind of moving the capsule around and creating that rumble. So he said, hold off, and we'll, don't do anything. We're redesigning that cover, and we'll let you know when that's done. And so I don't know if they've redesigned it or what the status is, but I haven't heard anything back, so we gave it away, and I'll just buy, if I have to, I'll buy another one when they do get that taken care of. But I didn't want to review it until they get that problem taken care of. Otherwise, there are already 500 reviews on how it was. So that's the backstory on that one, Timothy. Good question. Thanks for that. Again says, Rode does sell the mount for their camera top mic, but if you go that route, then just get the Rode version. Yeah, that probably makes more sense. And then back to Ono Coffee. Guest was via StreamYard only. Yeah, very perplexing. And he's going to go ahead and email me. That's perfect. Yeah, let's see if we can sort that out. All right, people. Hope everything's going well for everybody out there. Coming up this next Sunday, we have a review of the Riverside.fm platform, which is a platform for doing remote podcast recording. It's a pretty interesting thing. It's what I've been using for the corporate. We don't use it for live streaming, but we do for recording interviews, and it works pretty well. And it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. And the nice thing about it is that gets around one of the biggest problems. You could use a platform like StreamYard, for example, or Restream.io, and not Livestream and just do a recording. Those also support that. But what Riverside does that's unique is that you open it up in Chrome. So everyone connects via Chrome, just the web browser. And it actually records both the audio and the video in the browser and then uploads it from the browser as internet bandwidth is available. So what that means is if you do have a cutout as far as the internet is concerned, you still have a copy within the browser, and once the internet connectivity is restored, it will start uploading again. So it's a really pretty clever approach to solving that problem, and in my test so far, it works really well. We did one interview where, let me switch back over to this mic, because, you know, if you have a $700 mic, why would you not use it? Okay. We did have one case where his internet cut out mid-interview, so we actually lost the signal of him for a short period of time. He kept talking, and then the recordings that were there, you never would have known that there was any sort of issue. So the cool thing is that I can download the video files, the audio files, put them into Final Cut, edit things up, doing a multicam edit, and good to go. So it's a pretty nice setup. It worked well, and it's relatively new. I guess I shouldn't be doing a review of it now. Wait, if you're interested, go watch the video when it comes out later. All right, everybody, that was all I wanted to cover here for tonight. I hope everybody is getting out and making some good sound, and I think that's it. We'll talk to you guys later. Take care, everybody.